ga luleeba ganywebwa wa mwoyo. Amazzi g'oku luleeba ennyonyi zigazanyiramu era gagwamu ebibi bingi kye gaba teganyweka okuggyako omuntu ow'omwoyo omugumu.
Pride is your beautiful hair.
They're all winners. Jango birabe. Jango toakana. Ku Airtel Money. Kakadde kagwira obuli deire. Yes, toakana. With 1 million shillings up for grabs every day. Kagwira wo ku Airtel Money. Simply send and receive money. Top up your airtime or data. Pay for utility bills, groceries, fuel, and much more with Airtel Money. And you could be one of the day's 5 lucky winners. And if Mr. Money and his crew find you making a transaction, you win cash on the spot. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel Money. Simple, secure, instant.
Ekifo ekimu era mwokolera ebyo
Okyaliko omuli n'abayimwe. Samlex agamba nti ekyabasawo okwedima tusaba babe bantu bagumike kutuusibwa ku masomero gaabwe byonna
Katolika gawakatuuka mu kitundu kye kubanga endagiriro n'ennamba z'essimu agalabirirwa ekitongole kino nga mugano panya eky'ebipande bino okubeerawo.
Abakulu bagenda okufuluma beekanga ebipande bino biri ku masomero. Headmasters nga tebabuuziddwako.
Oli wajja takyalaba kapande kaffe ka ssomero alaba ka KCC.
KCC egamba nti yasaba olukusa okusaawo ebipande bino wabula bannyini masomero balumiriza nti eriko endagaano zeetaatuukiriza.
Ina bigenderera byonna nti obupande babuteekayo lwakuba twagala kutwala ttaka yabaffe ate ettaka tulitwale nga tutwalawo.
Naye obupande bwe bwatuuka okubatuuka obuleeta babuleeta nga information gye twabawa teriiko nga kuliko ya KCC.
Oluvannyuma lw'ebipande baali balowooza nti Kimyanku ye mugabe. Ebbaluwa endala esaba ebikwata ku byapa by'amasomero n'etuuka.
Baatusaba tuweereze erinnya ly'essomero, ettaka we liri, title eri mu mannya gaani.
Tugenda kuteekako investments, tunoonya aba sponsors okutuyambako okutukwatirako. So kati twagala kufuna bantu bazze okutuyamba ate enkeera mujje nti ate batugobyewo.
Kiriziya eremereddwa okulikulaakulanya. Kiriziya tenna kulemererwa kukulaakulanya ettaka lyayo.
Waliwo okutya nti gavumenti yandibanga yeeyambisa olukwesikwesi okunyakula ettaka lya Kiriziya. Akakiiko akataba balooya abakatoliki kawadde KCC essabbiiti 2 zokka bwe ziti ng'esigookuluddeyo obupande buno. Okusinziira ku mateeka, gavumenti eriko emitenderamu erina okuyita okweddiza ettaka ly'ebeeyagadde. Abamu kye bagamba nti oba oliawo mu mbeera eno kibadde tekinnabagobererwa. Mu bitundu bya Uganda ebirala, amasomero agamu gaakubadde gavumenti mu mbuga z'amateeka era ku byekuusa n'okubasaba ebyapa byabwe. Solomon Kaweesa, NTV Akawungeezi.
Webale nnyo Solomon Kaweesa, biri mu nyazi eziise ku ssaawa emu. Mu mawulire amalala mu kugezaako okulondoola emirimu gya gavumenti okulaba nga gitambula bulungi, omubaka wa gavumenti mu Kampala Aisha Kabanda asazeewo okukuba olusiisira okumpi ne Kinnawataka mu ggombolola y'e Nakawa. Ono agenda kusinziira eno okulambula emirimu gya gavumenti era alabudde nti be banaasanganga emirimu bagikola mu ngeri yakanaggwerayo eyo kakubajjuutuka.
Tugenda kusula ku kyoto wano n'abakulembeze ba Nakawa. Leero nsuze wano na Mbuya, enkya ngenda kusula Kisaasi. Ngangezaako kusula n'abantu bonna b'ekyalo bajje bawuliziganye nange bambuulire bye tukola eyo nga gavumenti bo babiraba batya. Wowe baagala tutereeze biki bye baagala nnondoole kubanga abantu baffe nabo bagezi already bamanyi biki ebitatambula bulungi. Batandise okumpa amawulire era n'akawungezi kaleero ngenda kutandikirawo okukyala kuba kwa okulambula ebyo ebyemulugunyiziddwako. Nsuubira ekisooka nja kuba nnyongedde okufuna ekifaananyi ku program za gavumenti. nja kuba mufunye ekifaananyi zitambula zitya nsobole okuadvisinga kuba sobola kuadvisinga ku kyotomanyi. Ekyokubiri ngenda nakumenya okutya kw'abantu kubanga abantu balina okutya kwa offices bamanye nti RCC abeera muntu wa bulijjo gw'otuukirira ne munyumya n'omubulira ebintu bye. Kukunga kwange kuli ku bintu bibiri okusingira ddala. Ku ID project okubiriza Bannayuganda bakomyewo empapula. Kampala tumaze okugaba empapula ezisukka mu miliyoni 2 n'abantu be twakawandiisa tebawera kakadde kamu.
Oyo ye Aisha Kabanda omubaka wa government mu Kampala. Mu birala okunoonyereza kulaga nti ku lukalu lwa Africa bannamagoye kulaganga ku lukalu lwa Africa bannamagoye bwe bakyasisinkana okusoomoozebwa okw'amaanyi okuli n'okubasaddaaka nga kirowoozebwa nti balimu eddagala obugagga n'ebirala. Wano mu Uganda ekyokusaddaaka bannamagoye kibadde tekinnaba kuwulikika nnyo kyokka tusisinkanye amaka agamu agalina abaana bannamagoye 5 bano nno nga basula ku tebuukye olw'okutya ababi be bagamba batandise okubayigga. Gertrude Musime Witwale alina okunoonyereza kwakoze ku bannamagoye wano mu Uganda era emboozi eno ya bitundu 5 ng'etandise leero.
Akakubo kana akazika ke katuusiza ku kyalo Nabuku mu ggombolola y'e Kagulu mu disitulikiti y'e Buyende. Eno gye twasinkanye amaka ga Ssaalongo Bernard Mwanje omuli abaana 8 nga 5 ku bo bannamagoye ab'omu ddiriŋŋanwa. Awaka wano kati basula bakkunadde nga lumonde mu bikata olw'amabujje gaabwe ga nnamagoye.
Nge nali ku kalediyo lwaggulo bwe ruti ne bagamba nga oyagala omwana nnamagoye genda mu ggombolola Kagulu Erosi Nabuku. Nali ndi wano zeka nga ne nazaala wange taliiwo. Nawulira okutya.
Ssaalongo musajja muvubi atatera kubeera waka. Bwe yawulira bino yali ku mwalo mu bitundu by'Entebbe era yadduka Zambwa n'adda waka.
Ng'owulira nti egundi baakuuteyo omwana ate egundi baseeyo omukazi egundi baakuuteyo omusajja. Awo nga mbeerera ddala awo era nga n'abaana bonna nsula nabo mu nju eki.
Nnyina w'abaana wamu ne jjajjaabwe abakuuma abaana bano emitima basula gibeewanise.
Budde obw'olweggulo neeraliikirira nnyo.
Kati bakola kyonna ekisoboka okulaba nga abato bano bafuna obukuumi obumala.
Ssaawa ng'emu mbeera mbateeka mu nju n'enfumbanga nga bo bali mu nju bannaabwe bano abakulukulu babeerako wabweru nga nze ndi muli mufumbiro.
Si gumu si ebiri bagamba waliwo abantu abasalinkiriza nga bagezaako okubuzaawo abaana bano nga n'omulundi ogusembyeyo omukulu ku bo baamusuza omusajja ataategerekeka.
Ati wuuyo kabete wuuyo ali kupyata we yairira yali kupyata ati anuzana ninswanguka ninkanti banchaye beta munsirane na omuntu unabara ali kutwala omwana.
Omwana ono y'omu yali atandise okusoma ng'ali mu kibiina kyakubiri wabula olw'okumutiisa okubbibwa eby'okumusindika ku ssomero baabivaako.
Essomero liri wala ate nange sirina biseera binaabeerawo nti ntwale ngende mukimeko ate.
Embeera eno ey'obunkenke Ssaalongo emulemesezza okubaako ne kyeyekolera kati atuula waka kukuuma baana. Eri abazaala abaana ab'ekika kino ne babasuula oba ne babeegaana. Bano nno abalina abataano abalamba omukwano gw'abaana baabwe gubasaza mu kabu kyokka embeera eno ebasobedde. Mu bannamagoye bano baatobekamu abalongo ng'omu yali namagoye ate omulala nga muddugavu. Ebyembi bombi baafa.
Omuddugavu ye yasooka okufa ne bamuziika tewali kyabaawo. Kyokka lwe baaziika omweru enkeera bantegeezezza nti baagwamu ekyekango.
Ng'amalaalo gonna gagize eki gadomose muli. Kati kwe kubuulirizaako abantu ne bagamba nti kirabika baamuggyeemu. Twali tetumanyi nti omwana ono oba tebamuziika awo we batyo.
Ebikolwa ebya bannamagoye okuttibwa wano mu Africa byasinga kuwulirwa nnyo ku mulirwana e Tanzania bwe battibwanga okukozesebwa mu bikolwa eby'akalogo kalenzi. Wano mu Uganda bibadde tebinnawulirwa nnyo wabula waliwo endowooza mu biwayi by'abantu ebimu nti ebitundu ebimu eby'emibiri gyabwe birimu amaanyi ag'enjawulo.
Abamu mpulira mbu bya bugagga simanyi oba bugagga ki kuba nange ndaba mbalina naye siraba kya bugagga kyenina.
Nsanga abantu ne bagamba kati ng'oyo n'omufunako omutwe obugagga bw'ofuna bungi.
Tusisinkanye omuvubuka ono naye atunyumiriza nga bwe yawonera watono okusaddaakibwa ng'akyali mwana.
Nga omusajja ngoba ne tusangayo abakyala baali babiri. Abakyala abo bwe baatulaba omusajja n'abalaba. Kakati ye n'akyusa. Kakati bwe namanyibize ne bangamba omusajja musamize era ndowooza abadde ayagala mutwe gwo.
Mu bitundu by'e Busoga abakulira ekibiina ekigatta bannamagoye bategeezezza nti ebikolwa eby'okugezaako okubba bannamagoye bigenda bikyaka. Kyokka nti tewali bukuumi bwa njawulo buweebwa bantu bano.
Leero sinamutwalira nti tulina byakwerinda era ndaba nga byakumala budde. Kuba talina kyakugamba.
Tewali bantu ba kika ekyo bonna baali bazze ku poliisi kwekubira nduulu.
Waliwo olukonko wakati wa balubino ne poliisi. Abasinga balubino batya poliisi okugenda okugiripootingako ebintu ebyo.
Nazzikuno okusinziira kwakulira ekibiina omwegattira abasawo ab'ekinnansi mu Uganda, omuntu bwe yazaalanga Namagoye balowoozanga azadde musambwa.
Bayinza okulanga emikisa mu maaso mu famire oyo aba abazadde, bayinza okulanga obwavu mu maaso kwoyo aba abazadde. So ne babeeramu n'enkizo entonotono ku mwana wa bulijjo ng'azaaliddwa.
Mama Fiina kyokka ebyokusaddaaka bannamagoye agamba si mpisa y'abasawo ba kinnansi. Empisa eno agitadde ku baayita abafere abeerimbika mu busawo bw'ekinnansi.
Abaana abaava e South Africa abali muno nno si bangi nnyo naye batutawaanya kuba balina obukodyo bungi ate baasoma basobola okukozesa paati zonna eza buli kika nga batuma ebintu byebimu ebikanga bakizudde nti omuntu kizibu okufuna Namagoye kati gwe batuma.
Omwaka oguwedde akakiiko k'ekibiina ky'amawanga amagatte akalwanira eddembe ly'obuntu kaakubiriza amawanga okuteekawo obukuumi eri abantu bano oluvannyuma lw'okwekubira omulanga nti obulamu bwabwe buli mu katyabaga. Okusinziira ku kunoonyereza okwakolebwa mu mwaka gw'2022 ekitongole ekirondoola nnamba y'abantu Uganda erina bannamagoye abasoba mu 25,000. Gertrude Tumusiime Witware, NTV mu disitulikiti y'e Buyende.
Bwebale nnyo Gertrude Tumusiime Witware. Emboozi eyo tugenda kuba nayo mu mawulire gaffe ag'Olungereza ku ssaawa 3 ate ekitundu ekyokubiri mukirindirire enkya mu NTV akawungeezi ne NTV Tonight. Mu kiseera kino katulabe akatale k'ensimbi nga bwe kayimiridde okwetoloola ebibanda eby'enjawulo wano mu Kampala. Akatale k'ensimbi kakutuusibwako
Invest, reap, grow. ICEA Asset Management. Profile of stability. Grow your wealth with ICEA Asset Management. Invest wisely with our unit trust fund that offers individual investors, companies, groups and associations a chance to pool funds together for a minimum contribution of 100,000 shillings. ICEA Asset Management. Profile of stability.
Dakiika 3 mu nnya zeziise ku ssaawa mu Kampala katono nnyo tovaawo tulina ekitundu eky'ebyemizannyo. Mu mizannyo ttiimu y'eggwanga the Uganda Cranes eremaganya ne ginnaayo eya Malawi nga teri yatebye munne mu mupiira ogw'omukwano oguzanyiddwa mu kisaawe Namboole akawungeezi kaleero. Uganda yeetegekera kutunka ne Mauritania mu mpaka ez'okusunsulamu ttiimu ezinyataba mu kikopo kya Africa ekyakamalirizo so nga Malawi yeetegekera kutunka ne Gabon. emipiira gyombi gyakuzannyibwa ku nkomerero ya sabbiiti eno.
Coach abadde agezesa tunasamba tutya mukiraba era nsubira mukirabye nti second half tuzze n'amaanyi mangi ne tactics nti tuimposinze ba strikers basatu era ne mulaba nti atucreatinze chances nyingi tho nga bulijjo tojagamba nti ojja creatinga chances zona zona zikozese so tulemeddwa okuziconverting into goals naye ekiri positive nti tufunye chances nga zirabikako so omusomesa nsubira nti ekyajja kukitereeza era nsubira nti tujja kuteeba ku ikoto ku Mauritania. NTV akawungezi bwete bwegenze dakika ziri ya 38 eziyiseeko munzikirize mbasiibule bwe bitagenze bulungi twetonze tuddingane nate enkya nze Farida musire bulungi.
NTV, turning on your world.
Sometimes children have amazing ideas, but they can lead to tough stains. And for tough stains, there's new Omo Fast Action. Its super fast cleaning technology removes stains fast. New Omo, no one removes tough stains faster.
Program Guide is brought to you by Jessa Smooth Yogurt. Program Guide.
Jessa Smooth Yogurt comes in various flavors like vanilla, strawberry and banana. Jessa Farm Dairy. Always trusted, always delicious.
Today's highlight with
Nice and Lovely Body Lotion.
The Muco mines will most likely return to its original owners. I can't represent Antonio Guerra's interest. This land was taken illegally. When they go back to their original owners, then they will get in contact with you.
I can assure you that the patient has a healthy heart. He can withstand a trial and go back to prison. Who are you, Anibal Viegas?
With skin moisturizer. Best.
I through
And the change of government was their plans to launch last week. At much more. I don't know who you are. Think more at 9 o'clock in the morning.
And indeed 200,000 this of hundreds of thousands. At NTV continues with a look at the news. This was revealed by the State Minister for says that though the situation
Sudan has now helped you to
air skirmishes there.
Meanwhile, are focused on unrest in just that offer HIV AIDS and causing financial loss. The defense court, Sudhir Biarhanga reports.
Long-awaited verdict from Justice Catherine for 4 hours interdicted former permanent secretary guilt of authorizing payment of over 2011. The bicycles were meant for, despite caution from Bank of Uganda that they failed to prove the charge beyond. Kashaka's lawyers argued that the contracts committee which awarded the contract to ITEL did so without his influence.
We understood why we lost on those counts, and we are hopeful that not alone this conviction, but even the eventual process, the sentences that will be passed, we believe that justice will be done.
Also convicted were Kashaka's co-accused, former principal accountant in the local government ministry, Henry Bamutura, was convicted for abuse of office. He arbitrarily wrote a letter to Bank of Uganda and changed the final destination of the bicycles from villages and parishes to Kampala without the authority of the Contracts Committee. Assistant Commissioner Policy Planning, Sam Emorut Erongot, irregularly signed a contract with amended terms requiring government to pay 40% of the total amount for the consignment upon presentation of shipping documents. Another official, Robert Mevers, was convicted for abuse of office after he was found guilty of advising bidders to ignore technical specifications and reduce bid security to 300 million shillings without reference to the Contracts Committee. Timothy Tumusheruri was also convicted on all accounts of neglect of duty, including not advising the evaluation and contracts committees on due procedure to be undertaken before procuring the bicycles. Justice Bamugemerere ruled that ITEL never had a joint venture with the government and that the company won the contract, yet it was only 5 days old at the time and had no financial muscle to procure 70,000 bicycles. She also noted that the Contracts Committee comprising the 5 convicts smuggled in ITEL to connive with fraudsters to plunder taxpayers' money. The judge also stated that the documents Stanbic presented as guarantee for the seller did not meet the terms of the letter of credit. Prosecution argued that the convicts had the opportunity to choose what is right, therefore submitted asking for a maximum sentence so that it can send a clear message to the public that those entrusted to handle public funds, they should do it with due diligence and care. According to Section 20, subsection 1 of the Anti-Corruption Act, causing financial loss attracts a maximum sentence of 14 years, a fine of 6.7 million shillings, or both. Section 11, subsection 1 of the same Act provides a maximum sentence of 7 years, or 165 currency points, approximately 3.3 million shillings, or both, for abuse of office. Neglect of duty under Section 114, subsection 1, attracts a maximum sentence of 5 years.
We will get a copy of the judgment as the directorate and go through it more closely. What I can say is from the preliminary, we are happy with it.
But on Thursday we have to submit on whether they should get to argue on them getting a more lenient sentence.
Defense lawyers vowed to appeal the conviction.
Of course, we have to appeal within 14 days from the date of judgment, of conviction.
We are more than ready to go and defend the decisions.
As the 6 convicts retreated to the court cells, there was friction after one of their relatives reportedly threatened to pick a pistol from the court reception to confront a photojournalist who he did not want to take his photos. The judge will deliver the sentence on Thursday, 17th July. Sudhir Biarhanga, NTV.
The woman MP for Chibale, Robina Nabanja, was attacked by bitter residents who were not happy about the new budget tax proposals. The police spokesperson, Pauline Amaye, confirmed the incident.
Today at about 11 at Kasingo, Okumide Town Council in Chibale, the Honorable Member of Parliament, Reverend Jerry, who is the woman together with some businessmen and women, they were at a checkpoint where the town council collects staff. When they were collecting it, the Honorable Member of Parliament together with the group had come to stop who were collecting taxes from collecting the taxes. And it appeared that the Honorable Member of Parliament actually was discouraging the amount of taxes being collected from paying. So at the checkpoint, because the people had to support the Honorable Member of Parliament, there arose chaos. There was chaos, and people began throwing stones, which injured several people. And it also appears that in the chaos, the Honorable Member of Parliament was also injured by somebody or by some people. She was able to identify 3 young men as being the ones who injured her, and she also said that she had lost a mobile phone and money worth 5 million shillings.
You're still watching Morning at NTV. Time now to find out what's happening in the press. Good morning, Simon. And in the news, we had earlier...
Very good morning to you, Mabel.
Yes, in the news we had earlier that JJ Odong was saying army veterans are part of the problem in Kasese and Bundibujo. I wonder if that's making headlines in the press today.
Thank you very much, Mabel. Indeed, there is tremendous news in the headlines in the newspapers this morning, including and not limited to the skirmishes going on in the Rwenzori region. Whether or not army veterans are the big problem, we'll definitely find out as we get deeper into the inner pages of the newspapers. But what's for sure is that we have the Daily Monitor, the Observer, and the Red Pepper this morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's one of those, very darkish, I want to call it oversight. Well, I'm not quite so sure, but where we're coming from, it's a bit darker than usual. It's some minutes after 7 o'clock, but it looks like some time at 6:30 a.m. from where we're coming to you. Maybe if you're in the eastern part of the country and you're catching us from there, it's sunny bright. After all, the sun rises from the east. And if you're in western Uganda, I guess it's still darkness. But, well, good morning and welcome to Morning at NTV's Press Review. Simon Kasiati is my name, and I'm joined by Joel and Brian. Good morning, fellows.
Good morning.
What do we have in the Daily Monitor this morning, Joel?
Shouting headline here, Kashaka convicted. You know about the suspended permanent secretary in the Ministry of Local Government, one John Kashaka. He's been convicted. He awaits his sentencing today. This is a bicycle, saga. We were meant to give LC1s and LC2s bicycles. That did not materialize.
So in other words, he's being convicted for eating up all the bicycles, because we don't see any bicycles for any LCs, perhaps, and that is convicted for how long?
Well, after they convict, then you're found guilty. That means so today they will sentence and say we'll give you 100 years, hopefully.
Well, I think the maximum sentence is what? Is it 14 years or 14 months?
14 years. Look, of course, his biggest issue was he did award one ITEL, people call it Airtel, which company actually was not incorporated as a company in Uganda, at least not by then, so that was one of his biggest undoings.
Well, maybe the story plays into the bigger grand of scheme of things, where we are always whinging on such platforms and say government doesn't have any political will to fight corruption, that people are arrested and they are just acquitted. Now we are seeing at least one case of a conviction, not one case, in fact, one case in terms of file, but with several other convictions, because not only Kashaka that's been convicted,
there were several others.
There are several others, only that, of course, being the biggest name and the most popular one, the press will always lead with the eye-catchy one. So we are now seeing convictions thanks to the anti-corruption court, and perhaps that is one step, however small it is, baby step, towards the fight against corruption. Don't you believe that, Brian?
Of course, I think it's important for us to have laws that are deterrent in nature, and this is a victory for police, for the anti-corruption court, for the IGG, So kudos. But I hope he will not be sentenced to 1 year in prison.
Well, and then released after 3 months
That's
for good
where
behavior.
The problem
But
is.
well, at least, I mean, if you watch the situation at the court, of course, this man, Kashaka, and others with whom they are co-accused have relatives, have got sympathizers, have got friends, and then you could see how somber they were. You could see that they are these very, emotional sentiments as you say, as they send their loved one to prison. I mean, this always plays out. Whenever we have a corruption case, we're always hounding, let the culprits be brought to book. When they're brought to book, then we see a section of us, the population, really feeling sorry for them.
Politicians.
Even if they're not politicians, I mean, Kashaka is not so much of an active politician as much as he's had a stint in politics. But I mean, you saw the case of Professor Gilbert Bukenya, all these women falling on him and crying and wailing, and it evokes some kind of emotion. You ask yourself, where are these emotions when these people are running roughshod and plagiarizing, not plagiarizing really, plundering the national coffers that lead them into this kind of situation? So it's always a catch-21 that, of course, like it is the case with every court case, there's always a winner and a loser, and you can never satisfy both parties. So
it's interesting what the lizard asks here. Is he a mukene or tilapia?
Another question there. You have it. Then the question of big fish, a small fish. Then of course the Gilbert Bukenya thing of in NRM there is Agana and then there is Ebiana. And you ask him, at what point did you realize that you were not Abana? You didn't finish. You just you didn't even have the other B.
The man didn't know what was cooking in the kitchen.
No, he was carrying. It is his gestation. You're carrying a load and you don't know what is inside there. You ask yourself. All those
years. You're following each other on Twitter. I hope you're loving that. Now, the Church of England says they are going to begin ordaining female bishops, and Uganda says they need to take a decision. Do you see that happening here?
I am not the most competent person to discuss matters of the Anglican Church or the Church of England for that matter. I, like the Apostles' Creed that all of you profess, really say, I believe in the Holy Roman Catholic Church. And so for us, our issues are a bit different. When we are talking about ecclesiastical matters of the Roman Catholic Church, I'll be on hand to give my very professional advice on this because I've professed that faith for as long as I can't remember. The Anglican Church...
But as a Christian, do you think there's any devil? You know,
well,
if
my reading of the Bible is anything to go by,
actually, Bishop.
In my reading of the Bible, if my reading of the Bible is anything to go by, I mean, I've read it cover to cover 5 times. I have not seen very clearly where the Messiah himself, of the 12 disciples, those chosen 12 disciples, and he picked them up from different walks of life. My namesake Simon Peter was a fisherman, can be fisher of men. He picked up Matthew, was a tax collector like Kajina, but certainly was male. He picked up the sons of Zebedee. He picks up all these people and makes them disciples, the 12 of them, including Judas Iscariot. None of them was female.
Did he say as law that no woman should serve? Because he wanted to serve the Lord by women.
No. Yeah, they were serving him at that level of service, but not in the ministry. When he was sending out for ministry, I don't remember him doing that. Mary Magdalene, there was Martha and Mary, who are his very good friends according to the Gospels, whose brother he resurrected from the dead. The only case that we know, perhaps, that is very prominent.
In the Bible, there are strong women like Ruth. So
no, Deborah.
Yes,
she was a leader.
Yeah, but you see, I'm now looking at. I was coming to you. I'm coming to you at the point of the New Testament where we are looking at ministry, the spreading of the word. Saul to Paul, we didn't see Deborah to Debbie, or we never saw Ruth to Deborah in the part of Saul to Paul, who is by far the biggest spread of Christianity.
And that's where
against that background, yes, like we do in the Catholic Church, you've got nuns without a doubt who play the role of Mary Magdalene and all that. They are always out there to help in ecclesiastical ministry, but at that level. But when it comes to the actual ministry, it is a male-dominated thing. I mean, that for me, from the Bible, I may not necessarily agree with the chauvinistic bit of it that only male should serve at the altar of the Lord, but the Bible has been very clear. You will give me, I can dare you. You've given you examples, Ruth, Deborah. Feel your 5 fingers. Here, feel them. Mention female names in the Bible that took a very prominent role. Here, feel your 5 fingers.
And there are several. Even Jesus' mother, Mary Magdalene, it's talked of Ruth, it's talked of Deborah.
Those are 4. Feel your 5 fingers. But let me.
I was going to say
in just one verse, I can feel for you 10 men who were actively in service of the Lord. So
Morning at NTV has 4 guys. There is a lady.
But you see, that's what we have to overcome. And for me, sometimes I do not shout so much when feminists are fighting for their space, because the society that we have come from, the background is that men dominate everything. So women
but
are
it doesn't
to,
mean that
no, I mean,
exegetically.
no, I've been trying to examine also the angelic composition of heaven, which we don't see much in the Bible. But we know this angel Michael, we know this angel Gabriel. None of these is actually female. I'm asking myself, even the whole, I am not the most competent person again to discuss matters of Christianity or divinity, but I am failing to see a very active role from the feminist point of view as we want it to be today. Are we changing away from what the dictates of the religion that we profess seem to say? I mean, that's a debate I am very interested in following.
Well,
I am surprised when I see the Reverend, my good friend Diana and the others. Fair enough. But in the Catholic Church, I'm glad to receive Holy Communion from a nun, but I know that she's not leading the homily.
Interesting. This is an interesting debate. I'll wait to see what you got and say about it. Now, the court-martial in Bundibuju has charged 97 suspects. They await their sentencing as well. A good number of them have been charged, with murder, attempted murder, etc., as we wait to see how that continues to play out.
The Observer, this is a very interesting headline. For such a time as this, when Parliament has started discussing the public finance bill, all your president's expenses, 92.6 billion shillings in fundraisings, 27.6 billion shillings district groups, 10.7 billion shillings on foreign visits. This is very little, actually. I can't believe he's... Now he's not... doesn't. 5.3 billion helicopter and 800
How much is going to envelopes?
For a new car.
And then cars for bishops. And,
but now this becomes cheap if you're spending 10 billion shillings on foreign visits. But...
No, but wait a minute. You want your president. I mean, you look at the budget of your idols of Obama and how much they spend on the White House.
They've got it in their coffers.
Yeah, but have you seen this man walking around? I mean, he at least is able to beg and afford his lifestyle. I mean, I know people who drink on a daily, not that they earn that very much,
but they are beggars.
But they are able to, mash a drink here and there in a bar. So clearly, the end justifies the means. I want to believe.
And talking about beggars, donors are classifying government performance as satisfactory. Now, you guys might not be the quintessential donor, but you donate to government by way of taxes, involuntarily. So,
please don't adulterate the Daily Monitor story. When you say donors, I'm seeing a picture here of my good friend Thomas Miller from the European Union, another guy who's back. I don't quite get. I mean, they don't talk about donors. They talk about donors, the real sense of the word. Or now they want to call themselves development partners.
Well, it's actually we were saying, no, look, we should be at the same level we are development partners. But you guys...
No, it's a conscious move, especially by the EU, even to change the terminology, that you're not donors anymore. We're into development partners. Because we're equal partners.
I hope that works out. Equal. You've read the book Animal Farm, all animals are equal.
A conversation I had is, okay, whoever wants change should now change strategy, probably engage donors. So my question to them was, okay, donors don't just come and say, Joel Senyonyi, what can we do together? No, donors are guided by government policy. So they will go to government agencies. A government cannot just allow a donor to come here. So does a donor, something has to give.
But at the end of the day, they determine what their money does. They determine which farms you hire. If it's to do a road, they will bring right from the sweeper to I don't know what.
But if they determine, why do we steal their money? We still take their money.
We have mastered the art of reaping where we have not sown as Ugandans.
Maybe, to just, clarify something, and basing on a little knowledge that I gathered while working for the European Union, is that the European Union bases its development cooperation on the National Development Plan of government. The government does share with them what they look at as priority areas. You've seen what the President talks about on the State of the Nation address and say infrastructure this time around, this and the other. So the European Union will try to guide their development cooperation along those lines. That's why you have an infrastructure section. That's why you've got a road development section to avert such places like previously Woto, northern Uganda, and the ever-developing Karamoja region. Things like that. So that
why are you laughing?
They align the program. And
our good friends from China.
Well, those ones I am not confident enough to discuss about.
Generally, not just EU.
And you see, like, for example, infrastructure development, you notice that the EU has funded most of these huge infrastructure projects, roads, for example. But you see, previously they had this dictum that a company to carry out road infrastructure in a country, with funding from the European Union, must either be a European or African company. But that has since moved on. That's why the northern bypass of Barara was awarded to a Chinese firm. Can you imagine that European money is now being spent by a Chinese firm to construct a road in Uganda. There has been a paradigm shift that get the best company for the job, no matter where it's coming from. Let's do the job and let's move on.
Right. So our work is cut out. We keep complaining. They give these jobs to Ugandan farms. You find a guy having a farm called Simanya Agataliko Nchacha, bricklayers and so on. There's 3 stories in here. They are salary related. Makerere University staff won management against hiking fees. That is on page 4. You move forward to page 8. You see city patients locked out of health center. These, health service providers are protesting what? Low pay. On page 9 of the Daily Monitor, state lawyers plan protest over poor pay.
So it is a pay issue, while at the same time, of course, the Observer does what Mulondo just shared with us, a costly president, a president that is living large in a country where most of the social service providers are wallowing in poverty. There needs to be possibly some debate around what ought to be and what needs to be done. You know, telling us about the French National Day. I was here with the French ambassador just the other day with an open invitation to come and pay her a visit. I mean, I'm impressed that President Museveni did honor his invitation for Bastille Day, and there is quite some news coming in from there. What is it, Joe?
Yeah, we are told that France, Uganda are vowing to combat terrorism. We hope as we pull these synergies together, we can mete out a heavy blow on terrorism. You talked about debate. Quote of the day, this is Deputy Speaker of Parliament, Jacob Olanya on MPs. He says, you look at the quality of debate, look at the level of research, someone just comes into the chambers and starts debating.
I am glad that the Right Honourable Deputy Speaker of Parliament has vindicated what I have said several times on this platform, to the point that I thought possibly it is only me who doesn't see the caliber of debate expected of a national legislation assembly like I see in Uganda. I'm glad he has said it. Possibly, he should not, he should rise above merely telling it to us, because we know it. Honorable Lanya, we know that the level of debate in that parliament has been so low.
For a very long time.
So what you're telling us is not news. What will be news is what you, as the Deputy Speaker of Parliament, are going to do to elevate the level of debate? Or are you saying the buck stops at the voter? But when we look around, we seem to have the highest propensity of voting Munyagwa-likes into positions of certain responsibility.
From Kalumba is compounding that man.
No, no. And now on TV I saw that Aisha Kawanda, the RCC, has pitched campaign. Aisha, please move your tent away from a main road where there is a tarmac road right beside you.
Like
come, there is a free space for you to camp along Robert Mugabe Road. Come and camp there for 2 days. See the amount of dust you're going to imbibe in there, and feel for the people who live along that road. And ask yourself one question: you want to tell me that Kasiata and others who live along that road do not pay enough taxes? So I will not come to your tent. I have now given you my, she's camping around to get the views of. Now, Aisha, I don't know whether you have a TV in your tent, but I'm sure your handlers will tell you this. Rather than going around pitching camp and calling cameras to see you, greeting already satisfied locals in areas, come, don't pitch there where you're pitched camp in Nakawa. You come along Robert Mugabe Road. You see a road that is leading to wonderful businesses. There are great businesses along that road. There are tremendous homes.
What are there? Barber shops or what?
Among other things, we have got a car bond down there. We've got an inland depot. We have got a huge interior. What is one swang? What do they do? Now there's a company that is more called Interior. We've got Ravonia Suites along that.
So why don't you tell those people to come together and work on the road?
Can KCCA allow?
No, you lobby, go to KCCA instead of hounding Kalumba.
No. Yeah, but you see, we should be mobilized by our leadership. So I, Kasiate, who is the normal resident, must take on the role of Ewan Kalumba, who is the mayor of that area, to start mobilizing local services. Really? No. I mean, all of us have our. If I fail to come on this show, would Kalumba come here in the morning and lead the press review? Certainly not. But what's for sure?
He would. I don't know about his performance.
What's for sure? He will be complaining that NTV is giving him a raw service, even if he doesn't pay to watch this TV station. While for me, who pays taxes, and many others are not getting the services that we deserve. So, Madam Aisha Kabanda, the RCC of Kampala City, please move your tent from the comfort zone of where you are by a tarmac road, come down to that maram dilapidated road of Robert Mugabe and feel for yourself. And when you are there, you'll be taking a look at how devastating the Kinawataka swamp has been sorted out. You look up to Mbuya Hill and see the kind of runoff that we get. Anyway.
Kasiate with Mr. Kalumba.
You don't told us about the red pepper this morning.
I don't know. What is it that you're hiding from the red paper, Mr. Mulo?
Are you there?
No, I was a bit distracted. But Museveni plots to fire ISO's CMI security chiefs. And of course, following the attacks in the western part of Uganda, the president said his spies have let him down, so he's set to fire them. Is this going to help avert this problem?
If it is an issue of ineptitude, look, you don't do your job, you should get fired. And we need to see that happening a lot in Uganda. People just don't do their work. And what we see is promotions again and again. And I'm thinking, no, we should use the stick where necessary and the carrot. So you do a good job, you get promoted.
Yeah, but your leaders are a reflection of who you are. Many times you're always, I've never had anyone thanking President Museveni, especially here, for doing a good job. You're always saying the man is doing a bad. But when it comes to election, you re-elect him. So clearly, I mean, why are you calling him to fire on his inept people and you don't move it?
We don't fire him when we think he's inept.
Well, Kajina exiting URA after 15 years.
Oh, so there's a vacancy coming up at the Uganda Revenue.
Yes. So 83.6% youth who are unemployed in this country.
There is a vacancy at chimpanzees are under attack. This is a story in the Observer, and we are talking about the devastating effects of massive deforestation taking a toll on the prime habitat of chimpanzees. Now, we know that we have a National Forest Authority. Mr. Mugisa, please, Chief, kindly rein in onto this. And I'm sure you know where these areas are. Right now, these people are eating up these forests. I mean, they eat up the forests, the chimpanzees get extinct, and then we cry foul when we have no tourism attraction in this country. We're talking about devastation, no, not even, diversification. Members of parliament, beyond just having very bad debating skills in the house, are now involved in the distribution of NADS seeds. So clearly NADS has become a jack of all. I mean, soon they will be inviting panelists on the press review on NTV to also distribute some NADS seeds, because one time it's being managed by the by the soldiers. Then the Minister of Agriculture says no, the soldiers don't have the competence they need, and he's talking at the prisons function. So maybe prisons warders are going to come in. Now we are seeing MPs. So who next will be distributing NADS seeds? There we have it.
Talking about agriculture, in the Daily Monitor here, somebody says, let there be technology in the agricultural sector. We have made noise about this, huffed and puffed, so until we see action, hopefully, that is when we shall say kudos. Now, there's an interesting letter here. This is the letter of the day in the Daily Monitor. You did see the picture of, police officers Omala and then Kawesi here, the Commander Kampala, eating with these young people at Makerere. Somebody says, yeah, applaud police officers for civil approach. So we do give credit where credit is due. We hope this happens quite a lot more.
Well, I'm sure Omara wasn't served the meal at his messages home, so he had to deliver one to him. Anyway, President Museveni blames NRM Secretariat over KCCA. This is a story playing out in the Observer. I mean, I'm interested to understand what this is. Listen to this. Museveni blames NRM Secretariat over KCCA. What is the crime of the NRM Secretariat? The Mbawazi-led NRM Secretariat. This Secretariat of NRM has failed to educate city dwellers on the models of urban development. And so all KCCA efforts are falling on deaf ears. That's why we saw the other shootout where Agaba was ending in Ruzira.
Who is that man, by the way?
He's at KCCA for all you care. Working. I mean, the shootout was a result of those... Please. Was as a result of those guys who are living in tin houses not understanding that they are living in a prime place that needs to be redeveloped or taken up by the government. And who's to blame? The NRM Secretariat. Really?
Yeah, after all,
what does this minister called Najemba do? Is this a minister who in fact had an altercation with Mbabazi sometime? Najemba Muyinda, now where the Muyinda name is under contestation. But there we have it. She is the urban development, something like that,
Minister in charge of urban development.
I
keep wondering what that is about. Urban development, just like there's a minister in charge of political mobilization.
No, there's tremendous political mobilization going on in this country.
For all citizens over for the NRM.
Okay, you expect an NRM-led government to have a minister for political mobilization.
But ministers are supposed to be, operating non-partisanly. Yes, they are partisan, but they should serve all of us.
Joey, how am I benefiting? Joey, appointed by the
Joey, let me give you some free advice this morning. Ministers are political heads of ministries. The ones in ministries who are supposed to act non-partisan are permanent secretaries who are supposed, are accounting officers. The technocrats should act, without any partisan costs on them. But the ministers are there to see and ensure that the government programs are implemented. So
which are supposed to benefit all Ugandans.
Well,
so how am I benefiting from political mobilization? Well, given that I'm not even, have you ever got in an envelope?
Joel?
No.
You see, this does not have to come necessary life. I mean, usually you pray to God to give you riches. I do not know whether it has ever rained on you money. But somehow it gives you opportunities.
It should, one of these
exactly,
days.
but it doesn't. So the reason, the fact that there is that political environment that allows political discussion at different levels, including the mass media, where you are benefiting this morning, is a sign that you are benefiting in one or another. If there wasn't that political environment to allow for discussions on all these issues,
I think someone can say
exculpation from very far.
Is what we get really.
That's what we get, yeah.
But no, that is where you positioned yourself. If you want Yumulon, I can tell you, all you need to do is position yourself and move the NRM secretary. You make some money. And you have tremendous talent. You just do not know where to find money. Absolutely.
Okay, I'm Pimbaza Shaka, I'm coming. Well, Kaoro Okurut to decorate talented scribes with military ranks. And there's a rumor that...
Say that again.
People are going to become generals.
Kaoro to decorate talented scribes with military ranks. The Presidential Annual Media Music Awards, she's planning for this
music award.
Every year, where the guest of honor will be General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
And what's with the journalists in there? What do you call those awards?
Presidential Annual Media Music Awards.
Media Music Awards.
Yes.
But really, this government has bastardized the issue of journalism. So for us to have, I mean, let's go back to our big brother, Global Corp, who want always to copy good things. He always has that annual ball. Media ball, you know, where he meets journalists and the who is who in society, and they have a tremendous time and, you know, speeches. Now for us, we don't turn it into a chuvu, where now we get all these other characters who are now giving ATM cards as tickets.
But the justification is that she's going to award talented and gifted scribes and artists. Isn't that good for them?
So you're going to buy now. We have always been trying to extrapolate ourselves from the influx of non-journalists claiming to be journalists, where bastardization of journalism has gone to the point of where it's always nuisance factor. You know, when you are the one that makes people laugh, you are the one who is revered as the best journalist. We're trying to draw a line and say, you know, journalism is much more serious a vocation.
It's content
than whatever it is. Now here you are for awards. You want to bring us together with performing artists.
But you see, I see a nexus between the uniform and a bit of these awards. You know, the other day, the former police spokesperson, Judith Navakoba, she's now heading a directorate in police that, among other things, is in charge of music, dance, and drama. So
no, but the police has always had a directorate of department or directorate of music, dance, and drama. I mean, if you Moses Matovu, who's revered as one of our greatest musicians in Uganda, cut his teeth from the police band. I mean, many acts. The police has got a band, the normal band that but they also have a music band. They also have a music band which performs at functions. They also have a drama group, and this has always been there. At least I have an uncle who led that department for a long time, who took over from Okello. So there we have it. But to say that journalists and performing artists must be given awards on the same platform, I find that...
The guy doing Chibakulo and that kind of thing.
Anyway, looking further into the Observer this morning, we are seeing interesting insights, of course, many of which come in by the way of op-eds. We have the Viewpoint here, but the editorial is talking about women bishops, and the editorial seems to endorse, the Observer editorial endorses this move towards female bishops. Women bishops, a positive step. I want to ask myself, I disagree, of course, with the Observer position, but, well, if my good friend JT at the Observer thinks that that is the case, we do respect the position.
Some people think women are good leaders, and well, you hear undertones of now we need a female president and that kind of thing. They have a motherly touch, and you know, because you see, people feel men have let us down again and again and again.
We do not even feel, the truth is, gentlemen, we have let everyone down.
I like the way you're taking responsibility.
We have let everyone, and I always tell, you know, I find lazy boys, and I'm like, you know what, you are some of the people we should blame for the failure of systems in this country, the failure of families, the failure of churches. Everything is on us. So what is wrong with women demanding for their space?
I don't think there is anything wrong.
Maybe we need some of that to realize, oh, look at what is happening. Then we wake up, and then we'll have a reverse maybe in 100 years, and then men also come back to ask for that
they begin fighting
space.
for their rights.
Yes. I think we need...
Maybe where I have a challenge is, you
some
know,
of that.
we try to uplift one as we, you know, downtrodden on another. That might not quite work. But we need to allow
By
women
nature,
some
we
space.
are built to get this space, but we are not using that. So what is wrong with a woman fighting for her space? Because obviously we have failed to do that as men. I don't know. Simon
I
Kasiat.
am, at the risk of being hounded by the female folk, I am looking at you, looking at your biblical experience, the clarity that you, or the biblical clarity that you always preach. And I'm asking myself where the nexus between what the Bible says, a very highly chauvinistic book that does not so much consider women as a very fundamental item in the running of society then, at that time. The fact that he tells you that there was a man and then he had to sleep and he got a helper, and you know what helpers are supposed to be like, from the rib and all that. Anyway, I need to, like I'm saying,
from the rib, because also the good book says we are, we all inherit the kingdom of God. Right? We are all heirs of the kingdom of God. Didn't say man will be the top heir of the kingdom of God.
And you talked about from the rib, from the side.
That's the
not
debate.
from the head,
Absolutely.
not from below, but from the side. So that we
I am
walk alongside each other.
perhaps soon, and soon God had better help us and give us divine intervention on this. Because for him to send his only begotten son, he would have had the choice of having his only begotten daughter. I just don't understand this. And for me, I can tell you that we're moving. Yeah, not a hounding from the feminists. I can bring it on, but I'm asking myself, from all this, why only begotten son? I mean, there's that male domination that I see.
I think it's less of leadership, not domination per se. The manly figure
supposed to lead.
Comes off as the leader. It's just that we have abused that. Instead of leading, we are dominating. We are preponderant. We are messing it up, unfortunately.
Do you actually think, Simon, that right now, women are going to go back to how it was in the past? Do you think that this generation is going to be stopped? The generation of women? Can you right now go to your home and tell your wife, make sure you do not go to work? When I come back home, remove my shoes?
Yes, I can.
That woman will leave you, Simon, whether you want it or not, whether you believe it or not.
Let me tell you one thing, Brian.
Because
there are many women right now who have the qualification to be out working, but they're at home watching you. Because the husband stopped them from working, they're looking at you and say, look at this boy.
Their husbands that stopped them. They agreed cordially that, look, let one of us watch over the
again, you see, I'm not speaking, because I don't have the statistics at my hand, but I can tell you, of the millions of people watching you this morning, there are those who who don't even sit down to agree with their husbands, who are under the yoke of exactly.
Of course,
under
there
the
are still
subjugation
some men
of
that
men.
are sexist and chauvinist.
And there are many out there. I don't want to go into the statistics of making it rosy, but I can tell you, it is a fight. It is no simple fight, because the numbers out there are tilted in favor of men. You may want to grandstand because you're national TV and you want to portray yourself as an accommodative person. But in your inner self, and there are those who know you. There are women in your life who are looking at this guy, why is he postulating and all that? For me, maybe I would not stop my spouse from going to work, possibly because I benefit tremendously from her from her absence from home, because then there are other fringe benefits that you get from the fact that you come home tired and not hound you and all that. There's so many other selfish needs there. But people don't look at it that way. And so, for me, I can tell you, it is a quest, yes. It's no easy quest. You've seen it moving, and it's moving in the right direction for women, because there were times when they never voted.
Yes.
There were times when they were unable to attend school like their male counterparts.
Some of them have just started driving cars.
Exactly.
Yeah. And some places it's illegal. Saudi Arabia, for example.
Absolutely. They even determine who they marry. They never determined who they marry. But that is slowly changing. Perhaps, who knows, it will move there, but it won't just come like this.
It's going to take hard work.
Well, talking about which, I think before we get down to Mabel, who's standing by for the international news, we look at the business and money section of the Observer this morning. We're being told that oil industry is fueling sex trade, alcohol, and defilement. Well, those are some of the fringe benefits you get from having a nascent oil industry. Mabel.
Do you want to read this?
The Daily Monitor is asking,
what should be done to curb prostitution? I don't know if Mabel has an answer.
Well, Mabel, we know that Israel continues raining missiles on the hapless Gaza Strip. We also know that, well, a lot of celebration still goes on in Germany. We also know that Malala just returned from Nigeria, or she's still in Nigeria. You may need to update us on that. Malala is that, you know, girl who survived death from a draconian rule in her country as a result of her defiance to go to school. And yes, many other happenings across the globe. What do we have?
Thank you very much, Simon. I didn't actually quite catch Joel's question, but starting off here, Israel is to expand the Gaza campaign as truce fails. Yesterday, we did see that there was going to be a ceasefire in Egypt, but apparently the Palestinians rejected it, and fighting does continue in that area. Now, it's not only Uganda. When I saw this, I thought, oh, this is interesting. It's not only in Uganda that people are breaking up districts. Here, we see a billionaire, this gentleman here, who wants California. His name is Timothy Draper, founder of a Silicon Valley company, and he wants California broken up into 6 states. He says that this would create a more responsive and innovative local government in the area, something better for all Californians. So shall we see the end of the Californian state? I'm not too sure if it will happen just yet. That is on Reuters. And on the BBC page here, we have the German team coming home, and they're being welcomed. They had a dance there. Now, an Ethiopian man has taken the UK to court over a resettlement policy. He says he's suing the British government, and he's saying that the UK acted unlawfully by providing aid to Ethiopia without assessing its human rights record. I'm sure we shall keep an eye on that story to see how it plays out. Now, Simon did talk about this. We did see Malala in Nigeria yesterday with President Goodluck Jonathan. He was supposed to meet some of the parents of the abducted girls. Now, apparently that meeting was called off by the, I think, spokesperson for the parents of the abducted girls, and Goodluck Jonathan is not happy. He says it is political, and he says that people are just not serious about this. He's actually says the group should be ashamed for manipulating the situation for their selfish benefits. And we have a story here. The BRICS nations are meeting. We have the president of Russia, India, Brazil, China, and South Africa. They have agreed to create a $100 billion bank to help for development needs, and obviously to increase cooperation amongst them, but also probably some African countries can benefit from that. Now, there's a beautiful pictorial here. If you can get onto the Daily Mail today, this is the beautiful bus that brought the German squad home. 1954, 74, 1990, and 2014. The Germans did wait 24 years to win the next World Cup. Lots of celebrations. You can see the team here on the bus, and it was just so colorful. Lots of people, thousands, lined the streets of Berlin as the team returned home. And yeah, there's a picture here of Lowe with the captain of the plane that brought them back home. Morning at NTV continues right after this break.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Mubonyumiro ebyemizannyo jangu nkulage.
Does! And Adam Johnson, the boyhood Newcastle United man, historic, flying in the face of all football logic. A magnificent goal by Robin van Persie. Ferdinand! Everton lead at Old Trafford. Walcott, Giroud. Brilliant Suarez. Super Suarez. And backs it up.
popo ebyobwerere jangu birabe jangu towakana ku Airtel Money akakadde kagwirawo buli deire.
Yes, Towakana with 1 million shillings up for grabs every day. Kagwirawo ku Airtel Money. Simply send and receive money, top up your airtime or data, pay for utility bills, groceries, fuel and much more with Airtel Money, and you could be one of the day's 5 lucky winners. And if Mr. Money and his crew find you making a transaction, you win cash on the spot. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel Money. Simple, secure, instant.
Coming soon on NTV. Soon on NTV. You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
Thank you for joining us this 16th day of July. We shall now cross over to Simon for today's big story.
Well, good morning once again, Mabel. We're looking at today's edition of the big story, coming in several minutes late, thanks to a guest that doesn't take the invitation very seriously. But we at NTV, big story, we do certainly proceed. The big story this morning, we're looking at the state of the healthcare in this country and juxtaposing this deliberation on yesterday's mal-happenings, as you saw them if you watched NTV's news in the evening yesterday of striking medical workers in a little health facility in Kampala, chasing away patients and caretakers. Why? Because their emoluments. Why? Because their welfare has not been taken care of by the powers that be. That is what Joel and I will be looking at in greater detail and analysis when we return from this. So you ask yourself, if you're a government that with a Ministry of Health that has technocrats, and the technocrats are always too busy doing work, but on the other hand, you look at the state of the healthcare situation in the country and it's sick, so to speak, and with every pun intended. You ask yourself, what are these health officials or technocrats doing? What is keeping them very busy? So busy that they cannot even make it on time to come and deliberate these issues on a TV program where they have been invited and their proper time shared with them. I ask myself, if you are unable to attend on time a TV program, are you able to deliver drugs on time? Are you able to pay salaries on time? Are you able to fulfill your duties on time and be competent? I mean, we see CEOs coming here on time. We see big fish with greater responsibilities making it here on time. In fact, we also see officials from other government agencies. We saw Kenneth Mugambe here for Ministry of Finance a week after the budget, making it on time for this show. And you are the Ministry of Health, find it very difficult to wake up early and come for this show? I find that a travesty. Joel, tell me, what do you make of this situation that is playing out every now and then, where you see the health sector? I mean, you can say the same about other sectors, education and the like, but let's talk about health very specifically. And this, I don't want to say sad situation, but annoyingly sad situation where medical workers who swore a hypocritical oath to protect people's lives, to serve them and save lives, laying down their tools and saying enough is enough.
Years back, there was a strike at Mulago, some time back, I forget when, and you know, these doctors laid down their tools, and as a result of that, we saw some people dying. It was a chaotic scene, you know. I looked at these doctors and I was livid. I said, look at these guys. I equated them to murderers, you know, because I thought, they actually swear that oath. You talk about the Hippocratic oath. And I was thinking, why did they have to do this? But you know, as you keep growing and having a clear understanding of things, you realize, look, if these guys are not paid on time, for starters, they're not paid well enough, then this pay does not come on time. Look, Some of them travel long distances to go to work, so they will not have what to use to get to work. They will not have lunch, money to buy for lunch and that kind of thing. So at the end of the day, you're thinking, even though we might want to hound them, I think we need to take our health sector very seriously, putting our money where our mouth is. And you talk about, competence. I would want to know, for example, does the PS who was meant to be here, does his salary come on time? Is he paid well enough? I want to imagine so.
That is a question he would have answered if he was here on time. So you see what happens when you're not on time, you leave a lot of room for speculation, you leave a lot of time for naysaying and the like, and therefore you bastardize what should otherwise have been a constructive deliberation, looking at possibly your I'm sure the government has they've got a granary of excuses and explanations, or possibly the Ministry of Finance doesn't also remit our monies on time and the like. But that would never know unless, of course, one is here to discuss that issue themselves. But one also asks themselves this one question. There is a hypocritical oath, yes. But also government, by its own inherent nature, is supposed to provide for these basic services. And healthcare is at the very, at the very top of the basic needs of humanity.
It is actually a human right.
Absolutely.
We know it as such.
So would one say that the failure to position the healthcare sector in such a manner that's supposed to do what it's supposed to do is a gross abuse on human rights by a government?
Maybe if I were, to briefly put myself in the shoes of these government, officials, some of them think, why should they be bothered so much about these health centers? When their children fall sick, they fly them over. When their relatives are unwell, they know where to take them, Nairobi, Netherlands, and the rest of these other places. So clearly, they probably have no clue what is happening down here. And that goes to show for our leadership. I think we need to get a little bit more serious. Look, I've met a few friends of mine who are doctors, and they tell me, Joel, I love this country. But look, I cannot exactly serve in this country. I'm very patriotic, but Rwanda, for example, pays, I understand, about 3 times what we pay them here. Kenya just next door here, pays them a lot better than we do. And you're thinking, I want to be patriotic, I want to stay in this country and serve, I love my country. But look, at the end of the day, if the country, if the feelings are not mutual, we are bound to see this happening a lot, and that is why we see a high turnover. We see many of our health workers, running to South Africa, Rwanda, Kenya, and all these other places. We're not paying them well enough. And you see, we have all these policies. But if you go to Ministry of Health, you will see these policies that are gathering dust, and we know how to strategize and that kind of thing. We know what to do. But do we do it at the end of the day?
We find excuses. Well, following the strike at that Kisenyi Health Facility, a statement was issued by the Ministry of Health, and it says, I want to quote a bit of it, it's not ready to handle the striking, well, the Ministry of Health was saying that they are not ready to handle the striking health workers until it has gone bad, because it's the duty of the Kampala Capital City Authority. How bad does it have to get when patients are being pushed away, life-saving interventions have been put at bay, and the health facility has been closed for the most part?
And you see, when this blame game starts, that means no work is going to be done. Because you see, when you don't take responsibility, when no one takes responsibility, no one is going to take action. Ministry of Health will be like, it is KCCA. KCCA will be like, but look, the financing comes from central government, so there will be this ping-pong, and at the end of the day, who is suffering? The health worker, and of course the patients. Somebody has got to take responsibility. For goodness sake, there's nothing wrong with saying we goofed up this time around, we did not get it right, we are sorry, we are now taking action. This is what we are doing to make sure that things get better. But that's not happening. Each time previously we did see one of those health officials when there was another strike coming out in a very vitriolic way, and I was thinking, this was not necessary. Take responsibility for your actions, and then at the end of the day, we get to see results. We get to see results.
Well, I think this is the debate that we can only continue another time, where we have got the requisite people on the set to discuss with us the goings on, because after all, we would only speculate. When we have the time and when they're able to come on time, we certainly will bring to you an in-depth analysis of exactly what's making the health sector in this country sick. Otherwise, have a good morning. There's no Simon Says this morning. Have a wonderful day. Stay tuned to the program as we'll continue with more quality programming on Morning at NTV. God bless. Let's meet tomorrow, same time, same place.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
A wife who you got through the office will be very insecure about you working in another place.
Always hunt up, don't hunt down.
You mean what? Go after your superior?
How dare you suggest that when a woman is aggressed against, we should look at the person who's been aggressed against?
Let the couple be. Let them sort out their issues. When they need you,
then you come in.
Prostitution is being given a new brand.
All I know is that I connect people. Let's not choose to open our zips and do whatever our urge is, because I don't think that an urge is stronger than your will to say no.
People attach a lot of questions, shame to HIV.
I do not believe that when you wear a short dress, you should be a rap.
Marrying a wife is like having assured sex.
Anytime you come, you must have.
Yes.
To raise a population that has no clue how to be men.
Can you bring out a quality family?
I don't get married for my family.
Men, every Wednesday only on NTV.
Ekifo ekimu kisawa musu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli lwakuna butereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
Kale muli wano, you think you've brought campasas. Omwana yenna sobola gamba super deep. Si myaka gyaffe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent. That village accent. Now.
Kati mwagala mchimi video wana kuza kele chili chiaru chili okay wale tinsanyu fu weneka political tayakana nomuzanga nakajawa.
Kati nekambuza mukabete why are you crying? Nekagamba abasajja engeri gye bafulumiza mu lukwago.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover. Put that in Kiprotich's accent.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover.
The average age of the international team is under 18.
Well, the primary role of Team Uganda is to remain to Division 2.
Probably that's the only thing that can make 1 or 2 rugby fans smile, that the Cubs are doing well.
The players haven't put on they haven't wore the game faces. They're not the animals we saw last season, because Ferguson had the same group of players and he did deliver the Holy Grail, which is the title.
On the next episode, brought to you by
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Men.
Friendship is potential for trouble in your primary relationship. Get rid of it. It's not worth it.
I think that you shouldn't be friends with your exes. The world has 7 billion people. They will find other people. They will move on.
When you're an ex with somebody, what you're going to have at those moments, you walk into a spot, a restaurant, and you see them, you're not going to ignore them. You're going to say hi. You might even have a beer. They might throw you around.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't mean friends we're best friends for life.
I do not want to be in a situation where I'm trying to convince my wife that, you know, my ex is fine. She's harmless. Let's have her in our space. I'm sorry.
Only on Men.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
Hey there, Mr. Krabs. Are you ready to party?
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it. You like to move it, move it.
Wow! Hello, fellow motor enthusiasts.
Oh, Mr. Krabs, isn't there any way for us to return all of them back to normal?
Hey! How'd he do that?
The Red Ranger's a bigger problem than I thought.
It's time to finish this thing up.
What can I do to make them love me again?
What are you drawing, Kitty?
Mega Rangers? Yeah. That's a mega win.
Hello, King Julian, you are truly inspiring. Ow!
Sponge pot. Nice treat. Fantastic. Ladies and gentlemen, Jesus came to set you free and to be free indeed.
In life, you don't wait. There are certain times where you wait for certain decisions, but when it comes to taking action and choices, you have to move.
Jesus Christ found me, and he actually asked me a question, whether I wanted to live or to die.
Every day of my life was struggling. It's just that God has given me this kind of hope.
GXP every Sunday only on NTV, your official inspiration station. You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Molondo.
Thank you for joining us this Wednesday morning, the 16th day of July. I really can't get enough of these pictures of Germany winning. They were my team at the end. I'm one of those who changes goalposts. And here we see the team, the captain holding the cup, the trophy, stepping out of the beautiful plane. Again, you can see them here, Schwansteiger not too far behind, as well as Müller. All you need is a low. That's what the Germans are saying. I think he's now a hero, a real superstar here. Celebrations going on through the night, yesterday night, the beautiful plane that brought them back in, as well as just fans decorating themselves. And these are the colors. You may not see the yellow very well, but black, yellow, red. I think maybe if we do win something here in Uganda, we could probably borrow a leaf from the Germans. Well, we shall now cross over to Brian, who is on the other side of the Serena Hotel for today's Everyday Life. Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Mabel. We have people amongst us in the society who we have come to nickname Bakasirusiru, Bazonto. But do we ever stop to understand what their situation is, what they go through, and what actually causes this particular condition? This morning on Everyday Life, we'll be looking at mental retardation, what causes it, and how we can prevent it on Everyday Life. And this morning, joining us is Dr. Nesta Mbabazi from Mulago Hospital, from St. Jordan. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr.
Thank you so
Brian.
much for joining us.
Most welcome, Brian.
You were here the other week. You're
Yes.
back. And you talked about autism last week.
Yes.
And I know a follow-up of this is because autism is one of the conditions that may cause mental retardation. First of all, for definition purposes, what do you call medically mental retardation?
Okay, thank you very much, Brian. Basically, mental retardation in simple terms is a condition where a person has below average intelligence quotient, what we call IQ. If somebody has an IQ that is below the acceptable average,
what is the acceptable?
And the acceptable average in our settings here is 70. And the normal, the highest can go up to 150 in our
So those are the people that they call geniuses.
Geniuses, super intellectuals.
That have 150,
140, 150.
The average person maybe will stop at about 100.
100 average, most of the average people are 100. Okay. But then 70 should be the bare minimum.
The
acceptable minimum for somebody to be able to go to school, be able to go to university, be able to do basic jobs, So that is 70.
Right.
But if somebody goes below 70, then these are the people who may not be able to be in class and be able to learn with others, to be able to pass exams and be able to promote to another class. You've ever seen a child who is, all the rest of the people are getting a pass mark of 50 or 60, but this person is getting 30, 20, and he's always in the class with the others, doesn't miss class. Then you find is really things do not enter the head basically, and what they end up doing, they drop out of school and they begin doing other things. Okay.
Now, I don't know, and help me understand. I feel like you are explaining people who is that mental retardation or people who do not actually, who fail to progress academically in school?
Okay. Basically, mental retardation is also, it has grades. We have mild mental retardation, we have moderate, and we have severe. So for mild, these are people, they may be missed. They are not very obvious. So they may be able to be taken to school and they may end up really not performing at all in class.
Right.
But when some people think they are okay, then there are those who are obviously mentally retarded, that even at home you cannot tell him to bring a cup. You cannot tell the child that go and bring a cup and he brings it. You cannot tell the child that dress up yourself and he cannot dress up himself. Those are severely mentally retarded. So those are the family is having a lot of burden. Most of the time the mothers bear the brunt. You cannot go to work because you have a child at home who is not able to care for themselves. And there is no any other person that can manage to care for that person. Even if you hire a worker, a maid or whatever, they cannot manage that burden of taking care of that baby every time, every day, feeding them, bathing them, toilet issues, all those, once they have failed, a big burden, that's almost a lifetime burden. So it is really a big challenge. It affects the family financially, emotionally, psychologically, physically, basically in all aspects of life. So that's why the best solution for it is to prevent it.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm going to families where they've tied children with
ropes.
With ropes.
That is actually very dangerous. That's like an abuse. You are abusing the child.
I went to an IDP once and they tied this kid to a tree because they feared that if they let her go, she would probably burn all the huts in the IDP.
Burn the huts, wander around and disappear, get lost, all those things. Some of them are destructive, aggressive, they get behavior problems, self-injury, begins cutting himself. All those are some of the problems which can occur in the long term. So anyway, but the solution is not tie them or to do what. But anyway, the solution is
how do you treat that?
Yeah, treat them. Now treating them. So treatment is again comprehensive. Like we talked about autism,
yes.
It's a comprehensive issue. You have to, first of all, you have to seek care of a neurologist, a specialist.
Because it's a brain.
In the brain, the problem is a brain. So you have to seek help of a neurologist who will make a comprehensive assessment, and then after that, you'll bring on board other teams. For example, an ENT specialist for hearing, some of them have hearing problems, ophthalmologist for seeing, they have seeing problems, and then speech therapist, if they have problems with talking, you bring a speech therapist, physiotherapist, because some of them have physical problems like those of cerebral palsy, the bones are stiff, the joints are stiff, not able to walk, to sit, so you bring a physiotherapist on board so that they can help them with some of the physical problems. So all those are brought on board, and then of course the family, the caretakers, the parents, the family, extended family, so that they can be able to care for this child's comprehensive needs and help them to improve function beyond what they could be able to improve without this care. So they have to be cared for, and then they have to also be educated in special schools, because most of them, they have what they call special needs.
Special needs schools,
yeah, so they need a special needs school where they can be educated, and then they are able to do some basic things that they are able to at their capacity. Yeah, basically that's what I can say in somebody. And those who have other problems like convulsions, like epilepsy, and there may be sleep problems, those ones can be given some drugs to address specific problems. But there's no drug which you can say I will give and the mental condition will go away and the intelligence quotient will become normal again. No, that one is not there. You manage the problems which are available at this time and then help them to function to their best possible ability.
Right. Dr. Nesta Mbabazi this morning on mental retardation. A question here, how does a person with unacceptable IQ suddenly have a below average IQ?
How somebody with?
How does a person with unacceptable IQ suddenly have a below average IQ? I don't know if I understand this question.
Okay, probably, I don't know if it's deriving it from what we said.
Yeah.
I said unacceptably low IQ. That means that acceptable IQ is 70 and above. If you have unacceptable IQ, it means your IQ is below 70. And that is what we call mental retardation. You are not performing to the acceptable standard. Acceptable standard is 70, then you are able to do some basic things. You can go to school, you can pass, you can be taught how to teach, you can be taught how to be a nurse, you can be taught how to be a journalist. Basically, that is somebody who has a normal IQ or acceptable IQ. But if it is below that, then you may not be able to perform on those functions. And then when it keeps on rising, the more it goes up, the more you are very intelligent. The more it goes down, the more you are very unintelligent or you are mentally retarded.
Right.
Yeah.
Rogers Sebwishwi is asking, Doctor, can mixing of blood occur in prolonged labor?
Mixing of blood with the mother and the child? Yes, in a way, yes. Because actually there is a condition we call rhesus incompatibility, where a mother is maybe rhesus D negative and the child is rhesus D positive from the father's maybe genes of rhesus D positive. So some of those children have what we call rhesus incompatibility. The child's blood moves into the mother's blood and causes activation of the immunity of the mother. Then the antibodies, the mother's blood again can move into the baby, cross transfusion, and then the baby gets antibodies from the mother. They begin destroying the baby's red blood cells. So it can occur anytime, but of course during labor it is actually increased. And those babies can get what we call severe jaundice. Severe jaundice leads them to brain damage, what we call canicterus. And also them they have cerebral palsy as well as mental retardation. So it's among the causes.
Right. Jaundice is where the skin turns yellow and
the eyes turn yellow. And if it is severe enough, you can end up with what we call encephalopathy, brain damage, and then canicterus, mental retardation, cerebral palsy. All those can occur in a baby who has jaundice.
Doctor, thank you so much for coming.
Most welcome.
Always a pleasure to talk some, health this morning. It's our Health Wednesday on Morning at NTV. Dr. Nesta Mbabazi is here. I was here to share on mental retardation. If you're also a specialist, especially if you are a neurologist, please get in touch with us and let's try and help our people work on this. I have a friend whose child has jaundice, and so they've opted to go for an operation out of the country and try and work. Now I'm surprised that you can even get brain damage out of that. So it is that crucial. If you have a child who's going through this, maybe it's time for you to get them to a special needs center and they try and work with them, speech therapy,
mental health clinic, neuro clinics like Mulago, and anywhere you can find a neurologist, a pediatric neurologist. They can be able to sort out the problem and also help you.
You don't do that at your clinic?
I can assess. Mulago can assess, Mulago Neuro Clinic, Mulago Mental Health Clinic, they can assess, Butabika can assess. So if you have any challenge with that, please, Case Clinic, I think they have a neurologist like that. So you go there and ask, my child seems to have a brain problem.
Right.
So I would like to see a pediatric neurologist or a pediatrician at least to start with. They can help you to assess for you and then advise you the best course of action.
I was going to take a breather, but let me ask you this question before. Can someone become mad because they are too intelligent?
Generally speaking, I do not think among the causes of madness, being too intelligent is not among them. Madness.
What goes wrong then? Because some people who become mentally, ill. when you look at their history, they are guys who are excelling in class. They are super at their projects, their workplace, they are stars. And then all of a sudden,
I think to me,
something goes wrong.
The issue there is those are people who are, yes, very intelligent, but the problem is that they failed to either be guided or to manage their potential, so that maybe they end up overstressing themselves. For example, you are very intelligent, so you begin doing like maybe three degrees at once. You are doing a degree in medicine. You also add on a degree in business management. You also do a degree maybe in psychology at the same time. If stress is a cause of mental retardation. I mean madness. So it's usually they call upon themselves pressure, too much pressure, and they may end up with becoming mentally challenged, or basically I think
they fail to manage their intelligence.
They overdo many things at the same time, like academics, like maybe work, like maybe somebody wants to accomplish 5 projects at the same time instead of maybe 1 or 2 at the same time. So too much madness is usually a product of course, some genetic issues like family. If there was a family problem of somebody who was mad in the family,
you're likely to
you could also get it, whether you are intelligent or not intelligent. That one has to do with the family. Then also the environment, the pressure you are exposed to, the stress, the problems, like if you lost your parents, if you went through a war, you get a war broke out. Whether you are intelligent or not intelligent, you get affected. So it is usually a product of stress and your genetic predisposition or hereditary predisposition. But intelligence, I have not heard about it causing madness.
All right, somehow we seem to get more questions.
Otherwise, all professors and senior doctors and what, they would be mad.
Right. Well, doctor, thank you so much for coming, and this is very enlightening. Dr. Nesta Mbabazi will share his contacts on our Facebook page. Contact him. You can also go for get assessment at his clinic. You can go to Mulago. You can go to Kes Clinic, SAS Clinic,
St. Jordan Clinic,
St. Jordan, and have your child or yourself checked out. Make sure you stay with us. When we come back, the celebration in Germany is still going on. Someone was talking about earlier how they had to use a Benz to bring the team. Of course, they are the owners of the Benz,
Yeah, the makers.
They are the makers. So really, they have to use the Benz. And we'll be looking.
The cup. The cup in the Benz?
Yes, they had to use that.
Okay.
Isma, Mabel, and I will be right back. Good morning.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Yes, Towakana with 1 million shillings up for grabs every day. Kagwida Woku Airtel Money. Simply send and receive money. Top up your airtime or data. Pay for utility bills, groceries, fuel, and much more with Airtel Money. And you could be one of the day's 5 lucky winners. And if Mr. Money and his crew find you making a transaction, you win cash on the spot. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel Money. Simple, secure, instant.
Ekifo ekimu kisawa musu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli Lwakuna butereevu ku NTV akawungeezi.
Why is Mombasa strategic to the countries of the East and Central Africa region? What makes the port of Mombasa the preferred port on the East African coastline? channel has been dredged to a depth of -15 meters and widened to 300 meters at its narrowest point to enable the port accommodate larger vessels. These facilities make the port of Mombasa one of the busiest ports in the world for handling grain import aid cargoes for the World Food Programme. On 100 acres of reclaimed land is under construction with a total berth length of 900 meters. This will expand the port's container handling facilities to accommodate the latest generation of container ships and increase handling capacity by 1.2 million TEUs annually.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired the President Museveni.
Is the ICC a first court targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only 2 individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
On the next episode, brought to you by
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
Log in.
This week on Login, I bring you that fun that took place at the Blankets and Wine. Sylvia Worry finally launches a new clothing lane. And the vintage and classic car show. All these Wednesday 7:30 p.m. on.
You can download movies at the lowest prices another fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
You WhatsApp me first.
A wise man once said that winning is a habit and so is losing. That's what sport is about. Either win or you lose. And this morning we're going to talk about that. Joining us is Isma. Good morning, Isma.
Good morning. Not the best of mornings, but the moment the camera is switched on, I start to feel good because it's what puts
the studio like I don't have.
You know, I do not know. And our boss, Mr. Mutisha, please allow me because I only have it when I come up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel bad. You.
Anyway. We should switch location. This should be the last of maybe the World Cup reviews. Yeah. The celebration is going on in Germany. Mabel talking about the pictures. World Cup 2014-11.
I'll be like Mabel. Actually, yesterday, as I was arriving in Berlin, had come onto the wires and I was so excited. That's the point when I realized that probably I can't be a fan. I can't be that big fan of Argentina. At that point I should have been angry. Actually it wasn't that because I was excited to see all they saw the plane coming to Berlin.
Where those people were?
I went for Sergio Oria, the Ivory Coast ballet who the halfback. I thought he had the blind of a tournament and actually it's one who crossed in Van Persie goal where Van Persie goes in like center backs. I'll go with the German Mats Hummels. He was solid. And then I also chose Ezekiel Garay, that backline. I always thought he was the best defender Argentina had, and for me the World Cup has proven him right that he's actually the best defender that Argentina do have. He slightly edges out Jerome Boateng because he didn't have a very good start to the picture. The entire team forget Messi. He's the vocal guy, he's the one who talks to everyone right as they did. And then the front three also picks itself.
I think Rodriguez is overrated.
I don't think so. Wait when he
But
joins.
on internet, everyone's saying he should have won the golden boot.
That's because he won the golden boot. He should have won the golden ball. Yeah, because Maradona steers the debate and drives it towards Rodriguez. The front three also picks itself. Ian Robben, Lionel Messi, and Thomas Muller. For me, that's my World Cup 11. And you'll see many of them all over the internet. Probably everyone picks. Probably Mabel has one. You have one that has only Costa Rican players.
Maybe an Italian. Balotelli
Suarez must be in that line. Come up on the bench. Please.
No.
I'm sure no English appears on.
He played only 2 games.
And see what he did. In the games he was part of the...
At least one he knocked out England, the other he beat a player.
Especially one where he knocked out England.
Yeah.
Would there be any English player on your World Cup 11 team?
No.
No, there can't be any.
No, on his.
No. I personally think that English players I don't know. While the league is awesome, and I think the league has only become awesome because it has attracted a lot of talent out of
Totally agree
England.
with you, Brian.
You know, and I don't see English players who you can, Frank Lampard was part, but
they're up there among the top 4 somehow, somewhere.
Because
In the Champions
have
League.
a lot of from Turkey, from
I'm Brian giving you a stat, German. In Spain, it's right around 47. In England, it's below 27%. English, you look at the top city there from Porto, it's called Mangala. Defend allowed 70 non-English players.
And I know the English are not too happy about that.
Yeah.
Are we saying there's...
James Milner made the team at the 2014. It was not even
made up to have.
The difference, the more that an Englishman would get 0 in the second, but to win the game, is going to do against Mauritania. The team, a pattern of what the Cranes were doing. So I was very disappointed and missed 10 chances, and I'd go home saying, and Mitchell has a lot of work to do. Team, and that's a debate we'll get to at some point, probably in the next weeks, depending on what the results against Mauritania would be. But you'd sense there is something that is not happening for the team, and I hope this was only a friendly, and I'm reading too much into it yet. I'm one of those who are in that school of thought of Bobby Williamson and many coaches. Friendlies are irrelevant. So at that point, probably it's only about the fitness, and they'll get it right in the big game. You want to hope so, but from what I saw, if this was a qualifier, would be in tears.
Speaking of getting it right, last week the Warriors got it right. They resurrected. They should just wipe sharing youth off the face of basketball tonight.
They should, because when you beaten a team like Power, 102-92 like the Warriors did on Friday. Now when you're playing a team like Sharing, who are not exactly your Power-like team, because Sharing only newcomers in the league, they only came into the league this year, so they should be, it should be whether what margin can Warriors get. But it's been that kind of season for Warriors where it's been a bit of stop-start. One moment they are doing well, the next are not doing well. So I want to think that for having Ivan Enabu and probably Marco Pio will play today for the very first time this season, that should get the Warriors with that kind of vibe they had on Friday. I thought I loved watching them playing on Friday. That's for me the best game they played in 2 years. And this is a Warriors team that is not too far away from winning every other time. But this time, I think if they don't beat Sharing with a margin of 30 points, I know it's a step back.
Right.
Yeah, but there haven't been so many 30-point games this season, except I remember one when City Oil beat up on Diamond in the Sun, I think with a margin of 70-18. Most of the games have been within the 20 points and less. So you want to think that the Warriors have got to get this result, just to remind everyone that what we did against Power was not a one-off.
I know you said we're going to end World Cup, but Neymar, Suarez and Messi. Tell us a little bit about some of those stars of the World Cup and the new season that's coming up.
I think there's a big debate in Barcelona, instigated by their former coach Johan Cruyff, about where he thinks that the three of them can't play together because they are too individualistic. That's what he called them. Neymar, Suarez and Messi. That the three of them are good individually, but put them in the same team, there'll be a bit of a problem. Because he thinks Neymar thrives at Brazil because the ball goes through him. The same with Messi at Barcelona and Argentina, and then the same with Suarez at Liverpool. But I've always thought that while you steer these things up, sometimes it's got to be, you've got to look at it in two ways. If I was a coach, I would want to have the best players on the team, then deal with the selection thereafter. Because you cannot tell me that by having Messi and 10 other
dogs or whatever players you want to call them, whatever thing you want to call them, that you're better off by not having good players and having one good player. Yeah. But I think Luis Enrique, who is the new coach of Barcelona, because they had to appoint a new coach and after getting rid of Gerardo Martino, is that has a big task to do. There.
But you've heard they say they can't be 2 bulls in a crowd. So here we're looking at 3 bulls.
3 bulls. Madrid have done it with even 7 bulls because they love their Galactico policy. They would put anyone there and get the job right. Now, for me, when Johan Cruyff steers this thing about how they won't work together, why is it trying to put the cart before the horse? We have to watch them play. And I know while they are individualistic for their previous clubs or probably and their national teams, I don't see so many similarities in the way they play. Because Suarez plays at the front as the lone striker. He did that very well for Liverpool. Neymar comes off the left. Messi loves coming off the right. So if I'm the coach, I'm Luis Enrique, and I can't figure this out, you don't deserve to be coaching. You don't deserve to be coaching at top level.
I was actually going to ask you that you know, even seeing Neymar in Brazil, he's not like a lone striker of sorts. He likes dribbling. Suarez does not like dribbling. Get me the ball, one touch, that's it.
So it cannot be that it can't work. I don't believe in this thing where you say having too many good players is a problem. It's a problem in basketball, because in basketball you have 24 seconds to get the ball across, and then it's about how many touches you'll give someone. The way LeBron James got all the chances at Miami Heat, now Chris Bosh will get them because LeBron is going to Cleveland. Now it cannot be like that in football. When there are 11 players, it's team sport. Everyone will get their touch. I don't think Johan Cruyff is steering the debate in the right direction, because for me the problem actually would arise from the fact that Barcelona is signing players in the wrong positions. They need defenders. I don't know why they signed Suarez. Probably when you find a good player in the market, you go to sign him. They are poor defensively last season. They have a Gerard Piqué who plays as good as you do, Brian. So probably they've got to look elsewhere if they're going to sort out their team, not looking at where Suarez is.
The man has a beautiful wife. He gets distracted.
Of course, I really understand what Gerard Piqué is going through. I've been a sense.
I think business, family is family.
Well,
no, for footballers, business is family.
He complained about not having strikers. Finally, he's getting a striker who's probably young, Diego Costa. Will we see goals at Chelsea now?
If you look at where Chelsea finished last season, they only finished 4 points behind Man City, the eventual champions. But the reason they did that is that they scored 31 goals less than Man City did. So, by going out to sign Diego Costa, probably they're sorting out one area of the pitch. And they've not sold any of them. They've not sold Dembaba. They've not sold Fernando Torres. But will Diego Costa be the guy? For me, this is a marriage where if Diego Costa is a bride and Chelsea is a groom, they all want the same thing. They all want to get married. Now, whether this marriage will be a perfect fit for the two, that's now the different affair. Because Diego Costa is coming from a league where, by being physical, he would beat everyone. Now he's coming to a league where everyone is physical and he has to do something else, something to do with finesse and technique. Because I've always thought that most of the goals he scored in Atletico Madrid, and there were 34 of them last season, has been about Diego Costa being bigger and more willing to throw his body in the line than all the other players. Now in England that won't be enough. But honestly, this is a transfer that has been running for all summer. Chelsea wanted Costa, Costa wanted Chelsea. Whether eventually they get it right, I have a feeling that the way Mourinho has got to change his approach. They've got to dish the bus and probably drive a cab. They've got to stop playing with that bus, because the kind of players he has don't fit the bus strategy. When you had Lampard, Drogba, John Terry in the past, the bus would work with Michael Essien. Now you have Eden Hazard, Oscar, Diego Costa, who will have to play with they all have to play with the ball at their feet. How does it fit these players into a bus? Now that's a problem. That's why for me Chelsea are getting it wrong. Whether they get whatever player, unless Mourinho changes the way he coaches, unless them to play a little bit more attacking football, they'll continue to struggle the same way they did with Torres, Dembaba, and all the other guys they had last season.
Well, tell us about what is Liverpool up to? Have they signed anything? Because they've lost a big striker. Toni Kroos is going to Real Madrid. Do they need him?
Let's start with Lazar.
Since they have this boy who I think is overrated. No, Rodriguez. I think they are taking.
They haven't yet signed him, but they'll sign him.
They will.
Where is he now?
He's at Monaco. He plays at Monaco. Had a blind of a season for Monaco last season as a player setting up all the others. I'll start with Lazar Markovic. Liverpool have signed a player, and the first question probably should be asking, who is he? And I'm asking the same question. He's 20, he's Serbian, rated as one of the best young players in Europe. He's coming in from Benfica for £20 million. Obscene money. I wouldn't sign a 20-year-old for that money. I want to be part of the Arsenal board.
This time you're like Arsenal.
Yeah, but it's the fourth signing Liverpool are making, and they're probably going to sign a lot more because having lost Luis Suarez, they're going to have a bit of a problem there, replacing that kind of player. And they've got to spread their goals, they've got to spread their quality, and they're going to play in more competition than they did last season because they're also playing in the Champions League this year. Don't forget, they're playing in the FA Cup, then they have a league title to chase. And Liverpool, for me, the biggest problem for players like Lazar Markovic is that Liverpool will be judged on the standards of last season. They'll be judged for having finished second, that even if they finish fourth, everyone would say they are in decline. Yet at the start of last season, by Liverpool fighting for second, they had come in from seventh the previous season. So the standards are totally different. I feel sorry for some of these young players who have come in and are supposed to go and do what Suarez did last year when he scored 31 in 33 games. Then you talked about Toni Kroos, who many are regarding as a best midfielder. I'm not a person who loves these things of a best something, because there was Maradona, Muhammad Ali, and Sachin Tendulkar.
He's a decent player. Let's keep it that.
No, he's a good player. Loves to play a bit like Xavi, control the game, pass long and short, just get everyone in the mood of playing. So probably Toni Kroos, by joining Real Madrid, is the kind of player they need. But I think the reason he's leaving Bayern for Real Madrid is totally not football related. It's because he fell out with the hierarchy. He was offered a new contract at Bayern and he turned it down because he doesn't think Pep Guardiola rates him as high as he wanted to. He actually gave an interview where he said that Bayern don't respect him. And I'm thinking, what respect when I have a paycheck? NTV can as well forget about respecting me, provided
disrespect me and you'll give me the paycheck.
Give me the money. And what kind of money is going to earn at Real Madrid? Now for me,
is it going to be less than Bayern?
No, he's going to earn a lot more
so,
at Real Madrid. So the respect now comes.
Yeah, man.
But the way Madrid were playing last season, they have to change a bit to have Toni Kroos fit in there, because they played with a lot of pace, having a midfield that had Xabi Alonso, Luka Modric, and Angel Di Maria, who had to move from his traditional position on the right wing to accommodate Gareth Bale and come into the midfield. Now, if Toni Kroos comes in, probably everyone wants to sign Di Maria, and United have been linked with Di Maria over the summer. Probably they now have a chance because Madrid are moving away from Di Maria by signing Toni Kroos. So I'm trying to find how he's going to fit into the team. Of course, he's a very good player. He will find a position to play. But will he be the same as he was at Bayern? He's been a winner. They won the Bundesliga on 3 occasions. They've won the Champions League. Probably there was nothing more to achieve at Bayern.
I think he wants something else now.
Probably you want a new challenge. But at 24, seeking a new challenge at 24 is too young to be seeking a new challenge. Because if he was 27 or 28, I would be saying, I'm seeking a new challenge. It's like seeing Brian from Minibus to Morning at NTV. You're seeking a new challenge.
Maybe that's what he wants.
But I think it's okay for him.
I think it's okay. Yeah. Let him go and take Spain. After that, he'll come and save Man United or something. But I'm worried about Man United. I think it's going to be too lethal the coming season. Well, Isma, we'll be analyzing that and more at 1:30 p.m. on Omumuli with Lumansi and Alan. Catch Sports Bar every Monday at 10:30 p.m. And of course, we have a new show that is making people talk a lot. Burn It Up. You are paid to lose weight.
Yeah, I have a friend, Sarah Mirembe, who wants to join this.
Yeah, you are paid to lose weight. Yeah. Please get me in because my 6-pack are taking long to...
You have 1.5
awesome, right? Yeah, so check it out, please. And before we head out, your African proverb. The funeral of a person who died by stumbling over a stone.
Wow. What is that supposed to be?
Is it the same thing, like you do not give people who have committed suicide an honorable funeral?
Because I think it's about it's a lesson about when you do things, you should go to do them carefully, because if you're walking and you fell over a stone, then died, you don't deserve a funeral. That's
who buries the person.
I think everyone deserves a funeral. Everyone deserves a funeral.
How can you be knocked by a Vitz? Be knocked by a Benz.
Because, for example, you know when people say this thing about people who commit suicide being buried, I've always thought about one of the best midfielders I've watched in the Premier League, Gary Speed. He committed suicide. At some point he played at Newcastle for a very long time at Bolton. And I'm thinking he deserves a funeral regardless of whatever depression he was going through at the time when he committed suicide. So this is a bit too harsh. It's a bit too harsh.
Yeah. I don't know. This must come from Cameroon. They don't care.
They cared to lose 4-0 to Croatia.
Well, if you have any proverb that you want featured on this show, please feel free to share it with us. You can WhatsApp it to 0 and also post it on our page and Twitter at Morning at NTV. We will feature it on the show. It's going to be an awesome day. I'm very expectant of the future. I don't know about you. I'm reading this awesome book called Reposition Yourself by T.D.
You bought it yesterday.
Yes, I bought it, and I'm trying to get, how leaders...
You want to reposition yourself?
Yeah, kind of.
But you're looking very good today.
Yeah. Oh, really?
You are. I like the white, the black, the red.
I'm repositioning myself. Yeah. Get a book today because readers are leaders and leaders are always readers. Bye-bye.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji and Brian Mulondo.
NTV, turning on your world.
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
Kale muli wano, you think you've brought campasas? Omwana yena sobola gamba super deep. Si miaka jafe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent. That village accent. Now.
When you got political tayaka, no muzanga na kajawa.
Katina kambuza, mukabete why are you crying? Nikagamba basajengeri je bafulumiza mu lukwago.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover. Put that in Kiprotich's accent.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
On the next episode of Destiny River.
Bruno, the bishop's here.
Yeah, it must be the bishop if he's dressed like that.
Oh my God, Father Emilio. Bruno, I must warn Father Emilio.
You have to let the police know immediately. Do you understand this? And keep me posted, Fatima, I beg you.
My much respected bishop. I know very well how to figure out when someone is trying to fool me.
Destiny River.
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
tukwaniriza mu studio za TV yaffe sebo mwagalwa w'abangi bulijjo bambuuza ebibuuzo ku gwe konze ndikuyita obitwegambire wakola otofuka kino ky'oli sebo wasala magezi kyoga tugambe twakulaba wano ng'otandika banga tono okyuse sebo eyali omwavu mpulira kati weevuga oli bulungi onyirira wasala magezi kyoga tugambe lwaki abantu bakweyina sabisanira obino binafuuka sabisanira nono balala babanga bayamba sabisanira nono balala babeera basoma sabisanira kyali kisa kyechantasa kyakange enkuba konze haleluya ekisanga enkuba kyotonya kunze haleluya 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 kisaze nanyaza nange haleluya kisanga nateleka mama kyali kisa kyali kisa buno bwe bulamu eno gye nava nange mbyewuunya mu katoga kangi nafuuka omuntu natereera mbyewuunya sabisanira nono balala babanga bayamba sabisanira kesalina balala babeera basoma sabisanira sirimba sabisanira kyali kisa kyekyantasa kyakange enkuba konze haleluya ekisanga enkuba my yesu yeyayamba yesu yangokolanze yesu yansasa my yali yesu wangeze yali yesu wangeze ng'enkuba bw'etonya ensigo ezafa nezimera kisa kya yesu nze kyantobya kwekoterera ogamba kiki ekyampisa waawo ebirunga sirina yamba ddala kiki abalala nga bankoye sente lwezabula aniyayamba jogera lwetwakabanga jogera lwetwasindanga tetwalina nasubi kisa kyekyayamba kyekyantasa kisa tetayamba chali chisa
Masanyo kompadde sebo Tereka nfube nzije gwe gy'oli Wulira taata nzuno ntuuse Nzize gwe gy'oli Ekulu no taata tondeka kukaaba Ebyensimbi esonye Natamani Kuwa nawe baba Yaribu Sanjiya zako Natamani Kuwa nawe baba Imani ndiyo peke natakikana kufika kwa baba. Jaribu mpaka ufate njia zake zote. Tembea tembea naye Bwana, tembea tembea naye Yesu, tembea tembea naye Bwana, tembea tembea naye Yesu. Ninatamani wajiri ni wewe Baba, ninajaribu we na unibariki, ninatamani we